Hello, everyone. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Bobby C here, and over here is Joey C. I just want to make something clear, okay? For everybody that doesn't understand my channel, I know Anonymous Addiction at My Truth About AA, as Bobby C sees, is long, and some people don't even know that it's deprogramming. I'm here to tell you, when I say as Bobby C sees it, what I'm doing is I'm mocking as Bill sees it, because I used to sit at as Bill sees it meetings, and I used to say, no, I didn't really like as Bill sees it. It says Bobby sees it. So the reason why I say that is because it's everybody as they see it. And this is Joey C over here, and it's Joey C as Joey C sees it.
What's up, everybody? It's Joey C back again on the East Coast. Remember, check me out. I'm brutally sober on the Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever you got. When you finish up this podcast, go check out Spotify. Search Brutally Sober Podcast and send me a message. See what you think.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about today, Bobby C?
Okay, we're getting right into it. Joey and I are going to do 5 and 6, tradition 5 and 6. Now, a lot of people are going to say, like even Joey, last podcast, he says, I don't go to tradition meetings, but me and him jumped on a Zoom meeting, a tradition meeting a couple of days ago. And we got on a Zoom meeting and stayed the whole meeting and listened to it. We're not even going to talk about this podcast. The next one, we're going to talk about it because I think they were on tradition 7. So we're on tradition 5. Let me read it to you, ladies and gentlemen. There we go. This is, you got a short version and a long version. I'm going to read the short version. For our group purpose, 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA. Oh, I'm sorry. We're doing 5. Forgive me. 5. Each group has but one primary purpose, is to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Okay, we could get right into that. Here's 5 in the 12 and 12. Same thing. Each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Short and sweet, right? You would say, well, I don't go to tradition meetings. I'm never going to hear this in a tradition meeting. I'm going to keep on repeating this. Subliminal and osmosis. I don't care how you cut it. Go look up both of those words and I can tell you what they mean. Subliminal and osmosis. You're going to get it if you like it or not. You're going to get these traditions in regular meetings, whether you like it or not. So we're going to start talking about it. Each group has but one primary purpose, to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. Joey, what you got to say about that?
Well, I'd like to read a quote from the 12 and 12, if I could.
Yes, sir.
If we neglect those who are still sick, there is unremitting danger to our own lives and sanity. So that's fear. That's fear. That's recruitment with fear. So I'm going to label tradition 5 as, this is the tradition for recruitment. All right. They want to recruit people. But by saying that you're going to die if you don't, I mean, come on, man. Listen, I think that if you have a commonality like problem drinking, both parties involved can be helped by relating to each other. Okay. I think it does help to talk to people, but this seems to me like it's about, recruitment. And even if I'm wrong, let me read that passage again that came from the 12 and 12 about tradition 6.
5.
If we neglect those who are still sick, there is unremitting danger to our own lives and sanity. There's danger to our own lives and sanity.
You know what, Joey? I circled that also. I also circled it. Tradition 5 we're talking about. And I also circled that because that's part of the guilt. There's always a story. There's always a guilt, shame, and a story that goes along with it. Here's something interesting. here we go. Now listen to this. If you have your 12 and 12 out, or if you've been to a tradition meeting or not, it doesn't matter. Here, they relate it to cancer, the cure for cancer. It says right here, this disease of cancer, a cure. United effort, could this be accomplished, of cancer? Set his own ambitions aside at whatever personal cost. Just as firmly bound by obligation are the members of Alcoholics Anonymous. Just by bound of obligation are the members of Alcoholics Anonymous. They're comparing alcoholism to cancer. It's right here. Alcoholics Anonymous can be likened to a group of physicians who might find a cure for cancer. What they're saying is, what Alcoholics Anonymous is saying is that they have a cure for this so-called made-up disease called alcoholism, and they have the cure. And the only cure is Alcoholics Anonymous. What do you got to say on that, Joey?
Well, yeah, you're spot on everything you just said. But I want to share with you some other things that came to mind as I was reading about Tradition 5. It made me think about how so many times I heard people say you should never say no to anyone in AA. Like, hey, there's an open, there's a speaker that canceled. Can you speak? Can you do this? Can you do the coffee? It's like this huge guilt thing. And everyone always says you should, no matter what, if you don't want to do it, just don't say no. It's the best thing. Just say it. Just say yes to everything. All right. I feel like that's part of the recruitment process. And it just made me think about how, some woman who I just met in a meeting asked me, she's like, oh, well, you should speak at this meeting. She has no idea who I am or what I would say or how long I've been sober. And it's like, I'm like, no, I don't want to. But everyone in AA is like, you have to, don't say no to anything. You have to say yes. I just kind of felt like that was kind of a part of of Tradition 5, to carry its message,
Right on the money, because here we go again. I circled it too, Joey. Look at this here. There is another reason for this singleness of purpose. It is a great paradox of AA that we know we can seldom keep this precious gift. Okay. They call it a precious gift. And look over here. It says, look right above it. It says a gift from God. Okay. Our gift from God. All right. Right above it, right? Like 4 sentences above that. Okay. So we know we can seldom keep this precious gift, which is a gift of God, of sobriety, unless we give it away. Guilt, coercion, obedience. You have to give it away. How are you going to keep it if you don't give it away? If you don't give it away, you're going to die. You got to give it away. Well, give it away, give it away, give it away. That's like a song,
Now, when are we, and who's to determine when we're qualified enough to give it away? Because what am I giving away? Whatever it is you think I have, maybe I don't have it yet.
Joey,
right?
they always got something to say about that. They don't care if you got 2 days, because somebody's got a day. You're going to give it away to them. You're going to give that day that to them. Okay.
Right.
So one day more. They'll always come back with something to justify the means to get you to recruit others. Exactly right.
Not to mention, no matter how new you are, especially if you're new, you want to be focused. You really want to be focused on yourself. I mean, even if you're in there for like a year or two. I mean, I got 2 years. That ain't shit, really. And then you're going to be trying to give it away. And let's say you're a weekend and then you're trying to do some service work because everyone's telling you got to do service work. And so you can easily get involved with let's face it, there's a lot of potential drama in people's personal stories in the rooms. And if people are overly empathetic towards other people's problems, they could get involved in other people's shitstorm, whatever's going on in their lives. I mean, it's happened to me it's happened to me before, and it drove me a little bit crazy.
Yeah, so here we go. Remember, the traditions are about the group. It's about keeping the group in line, controlling the group. And when you control the group, you're controlling the person already. Okay, now the 12 steps control our body, mind, and spirit, or body, mind. The 12 traditions control the group. Each group has but one primary purpose. Each group has one. So they're giving us a primary purpose. They're telling us, they're giving us an identity. There we go again. They're giving us they're labeling us alcoholic. They're giving us an identity of alcoholism, and they're telling us we must give this away. That's your primary. They're telling me what my primary purpose is. And back in the steps, they'll say my primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics. Remember that? Stay sober. Here's another. Here's your primary purpose. Stay sober and help other alcoholics. This is yours. Here's the groups. Stay sober and help other alcoholics. They control you, the group, and then the concept controls the world service. Yeah, re-emitting danger to our lives. You brought that out in the very beginning. Cure for the disease. They have a cure for the disease. And they talk about Silkworth. Here, let me get into the story. Here's every tradition in the long versions, in the 12 and 12, has a story. And they're talking about the Irishman in this story. And they're talking about, listen to this, ladies and gentlemen, they're talking about restless one day. I felt like I better do some 12-step work, okay? Because if I don't, they're talking about 1936 because it highlights wisdom, this is talking about 87 years ago. Okay, of course, listen, you know how I know it's 87 years ago? Now listen, so I hopped the subway to Towns Hospital where I asked Dr. Silkworth if he had a prospect. This is the start of the story.
Yeah. Towns
Hospital. Does that sound familiar? That's where Bill, did his DTs. And Dr. Silkworth, does Dr. Silkworth sound? It's the only doctor in the book. It's like 4 pages, and that's the doctor's opinion. 4 pages. They're making, Dr. Silkworth, one doctor, he's probably a good guy, but he told Bill, push the disease concept. You want to get this thing rolling, you better push the disease concept. Yes, sir. The stories, the Irishman. He had the DTs and he was foggy as hell, right? He was pretty foggy. He's in the hospital. He's got the DTs and he's foggy. And this guy comes up to him and starts 12-stepping him. And lo and behold, the Irishman, years later, that tough Irish customer, they call him a customer, pigeons, customer. Lo and behold, years later, this tough Irish customer liked to say, my sponsor sold me one idea, and that was sobriety. At the time, I couldn't have bought anything else. He saved the Irishman. And if you don't pass it on, if you do not help others, and it tells you where to go. It tells you where to go, man. You go. They don't care. They don't care they don't care about your family. They want you to go to hospitals. They want you to go to clinics. They want you to go to doctor's offices. They want you to go anywhere. They don't care where you go. Just go get them alcoholics. You'll find them right in the meeting, but they'll send you anywhere. Okay, Joey, I just went off on that.
That's all right. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up about tradition 5, and then we can move on unless you have something else you wanted to share. But I want to read the version of Tradition 5 I wrote down here real quick one more time. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to the alcoholic who still suffers. To carry its message. What's the message? The message is that AA is the only way. Is that right? Pretty much. Would you?
That's part of it. Yeah,
I
that's
mean, that's part of it. Part of it,
yeah.
right?
AA is the only way. The way is God, through God. 12 steps, 12 traditions, the principles. When they say the principles before personality, they're talking about their principles. Follow their principles, and you shall get clean and sober for the rest of your life, one day at a time, by going to AA meetings and recruiting others.
Right. I mean, it'd be one thing to say, you know, hey, this is what I'm doing. Sober today. It might not be for you. Joe, hey, I'm in AA. Why don't you come check it out? It might not be for you. It worked for me. But you know, AA is not the path to sobriety. Its message is that it's the only way. To say something like, hey, you know, it might not be for you. To say something like, hey, it might not be for you would imply that there is another way. And I don't think anybody in AA really wants to think that there could be another way. So when they're recruiting people, they got this tunnel vision that AA is the only way, when they already have that in their brain. So to recruit others to what they know is the only way, it would seem natural to do, you know, when you've already been programmed to think that what you're doing is the only way. If that makes any sense. That's
Well, they have the cure, and that's the way. The way is the cure, and the cure is through God. I mean, plain and simple. I mean, it's easy because this is our gift from God. I mean, they say God is just mentioned over and over and over throughout this. Just if it's a gift from God, and if the sad part about it is, if you don't feel like you got God, then you don't have the gift. You know what I mean? I mean, you're out until you get the gift, and every step, 5 of the steps have God in it. And, you know, at the back, A, B, and C, they talk about alcoholism. You can't do it yourself, and no human power can restore you to sanity but God. You know? Okay, let's move on to 6. We got enough time to do 6? What do we got?
yeah, we got plenty of time.
Okay, let's roll. Tradition 6. Okay, I'm going to read it over here. I'm going to go with the, this is a crazy, this is big. They got this big because they got this is very, organized. Okay. 6, an AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise, lest problems of money, prestige, property, prestige divert us from our primary purpose. Remember our primary purpose. Okay. They're telling you what the primary purpose is. Your primary purpose, and the group's primary purpose, and the world organization's primary purpose. Okay. And so ought never endorse, nor finance, nor lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprise. That wasn't enough, but in the read it in the long one. It's even longer. It's like 6 is 6 is long. I mean, it's long. It's a long short version. Okay. And I got some things highlighted in this long version in the big book. It talks about separately. They don't mind. Look, they got this all figured out. Joey, when I tell you this organization is a well-designed control hierarchy, pyramid, scheme, whatever you want to call it, it's brilliant. It's a brilliant mechanism. You know what I wrote down? It's a very smart, wise business deal. I mean, if you think Bill and Bob did not you, but if the viewers think Bill and Bob had anything to do with this organization, creation of this fine-tuned pyramid scheme, you better think again, ladies and gentlemen, because you're asleep if you think that. You're not conscious. You're not conscious. You go to a group conscious, but you're not conscious. Conscious means awake. You're not awake if you really think Bill and Bob designed this thing, okay? They couldn't work their way out of a paper bag, both of them together, okay? So it's big. I got a couple things separately. They don't mind as long as you separately incorporate or manage. You know, all these clubhouses, they're run by money people, and they're all in AA making money. They're all making money. The money that's made in the recovery industry, alcohol and drug recovery industry, billions. When I say billions, ladies and gentlemen, it's billions and billions and billions of dollars, okay? They don't mind you separately incorporating or managing it. It ought to be incorporated. AA managers are usually preferred, okay, when they manage all these places. This thing is well orchestrated. What'd you find out in that tradition 6?
You know, I just kept thinking about my time spent in rehab, and
That's part of it.
how, you know, I mean, AA all over the walls, classes for
Attraction, not promotion.
reading the big book, but it wasn't an AA meeting, but we were reading the big book. But then we had AA meetings, official, I guess, AA meetings at night. But like, I mean, I couldn't get discharged until my counselor knew that I had a solid schedule every day of AA meetings to go to. That was printed out. I had to have a list printed out of every single day of what AA meetings I was going to be able to go to. I mean, if that's not some kind of fucking deal going on here, I mean, if it's fine, if that's the deal, you know, that's the deal. But don't say that you're not affiliated with anybody. I mean, how many big books that were purchased only at the rehab that I went to? I mean, I can only imagine. You know, AA doesn't have to advertise because they got the industry by the balls. You know what I mean? I mean, why they don't have to do any of the stuff that they say they're not supposed to do because everyone else is doing it for them.
Exactly.
They don't have AA doesn't have to advocate for anything else. Everyone else is automatically advocating for them. I mean, they don't have to do anything.
That's because it's because Joey's getting it. See, Joey, when we first met, he's educating himself. He's learning about this stuff. He's connecting the dots. He's following the money. He's checking out the stuff because he was in rehab. Okay, he's been to AA meetings. This ain't some dude that, you know, didn't have a problematic drinking or whatever behavior. Joey's been there, he's experienced it, but he's deprogramming himself all along, man. Matter of fact, he didn't even need deprogramming, like he said, because he wasn't falling for half the shit anyhow. But he still likes to go because he likes the connection. And we could talk about that on one podcast. You know what, ladies and gentlemen, some people, I had somebody comment to me, he said, Bobby, why do you he said, "Oh, I really like what you're saying because you're constantly complaining about AA, and why do you just keep on complaining about AA? Why don't you just do a 4-step?" Well, this guy that says this don't even know that I know all about 4 steps. First of all, you got to do a 4th and 5th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. I mean, you got to do a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th to do a full version of it. Go right through it. Okay. I'm not complaining. I don't complain about this stuff. This stuff, there's no complaint. I got no complaint. I'm telling reality, what I found, what I perceived. We're reading this shit. We ain't making it up. We're reading this stuff so people can have a choice to see, well, you know what? I don't believe you and Joey. I believe these guys. But when you go into AA, when you go to a tradition meeting or a step meeting, you got no other choice. You got no other You're not listening to nothing. That's why we're doing this, to give you some more information, some more knowledge coming out of other people's brains and thoughts and feelings and emotions that they went through. Yeah, look, outside facility, look, it's all right in here. Okay, hospitals, education, schools, medical, textbooks. They're talking about, oh no, we don't want it. See, this is a well-designed business deal where they don't want it. And Joey was right. You know who promotes it? Exactly. Joey had it right. He had it nailed. Look, here's who promoted it. Listen to this, who promotes it and who makes the money. I'll tell you who makes the big, big, big money. Back in Rockefeller days, he took over the medical industry. And when Marty Mann joined forces with about three other, Christopher Brinkley, Smithers, and Jaranik, and a couple other people, they educated all the people. Guess what? They promoted alcoholism. That's what's been done throughout the years. They promoted it through the hospitals, through the education, through the schools, through the medical field, through the textbooks, through the medicine, through the religion, through the politics. Yeah, Joey, you're right. It's all connected. What you got to say, Joey, on that?
I want everybody, if you get a chance, if you have any desire to, and you probably already have if you're listening to this, just Google explanation of the traditions or the steps, or Google step 6, explanation for step 6. All right, you're going to get a list of links that are going to explain step 6, and and 8 out of 10 of those links are going to send you to a treatment center website that's explaining step 6. I mean, get the fuck out of here with this bullshit. I mean, is that ironic, or is that ironic?
No, it's all designed. It's a well-designed plan, and I hope you send this out. I sent you a couple groups. You got to start sending out to these deprogramming groups, because they got to get the message. You know, Monica Richardson on Leaving AA, she's got it down. She's in a direction that she's been doing this for years. Bobby C is just, on her coattails. And, I've been thinking about this for 30 something years. I've been doing it. I've been deprogramming people in the meetings when I was in the meetings, very gently. I'm doing it harshly now. Okay. Not harshly, but I'm doing it a little more robust, What else you got to say on that, Joey?
Well, we only got a few more minutes. The only other thing I want to say about alcoholism or drinking problem, or whatever you want to call it, because AA has got the industry by the balls. Really, the only thing I consider that's a stigma to alcoholism is that everybody assumes that you're in AA because you're sober. And that is an assumption. It's a I guess maybe it's a good assumption, but that's what people assume, that you're in AA.
Yeah.
I'll go to an AA meeting every now and then, but I'm not sober because of AA. But if you hear someone or of someone that's been sober for a while, oh, so when you go into your next meeting, that's a stigma that you're automatically going to AA. Because that's the only way. Yeah. Because AA's got the industry by the balls.
Yes, yeah, and I just watched the movie. I'm not even mentioning the movie because the movie sucked but it was AA. They had an AA meeting. He went over to the mainland to an AA meeting, and it was about AA. But I'll tell you what, he didn't mention R&R, which is rational recovery. He said just R&R, one little thing. But AA was the thing. Joey, thanks for being here. I'm going to probably do 5 and 6 short versions. And, me and Joey are nailing this thing down. It's so much nicer to have 2 people, and Joey's with me. He's my co-host on this channel all the time. And don't forget to subscribe to Alcoholics Anonymous, Deprogramming podcast. Joey and I got all kinds of stuff over there. Okay, breaks down all how it works, breaks down everything. Okay, I don't think we missed anything yet, but we're going to just keep on doing this. So Joey, thanks for being with me. I appreciate it. And to everybody, Bobby C signing out. Joey,
Joey C signing out. See you guys next week.
take care, everybody.